More buyers are arriving. Nikki frowned. What do you mean? You're not selling it directly to us. Recently, I've received many inquiries about the Jade Maiden scripture. I was in a difficult position and was unable to make a decision. That was why I gathered everyone here to discuss the price collectively. It would be fairer this way, Samuel explained. Fair? Dustin shook his head with a smile. Mr. Franklin, you have a gift for words. You're raising the price without reason yet making it sound sophisticated. Gathering all the buyers to discuss the price collectively was an obvious attempt to start a bidding war. That way, the price of the Jade Maiden scripture would surge dramatically. It was a cunning strategy indeed. You flatter me, mister. I'm a humble merchant who hopes to earn a little extra profit. Samuel continued to smile even when his plan was exposed. He was good at maintaining his composure. HMPH, I hate people like you the most. Nikki looked at him contemptuously. Why couldn't he just name a price? Those who could afford it would pay, while those who couldn't could just leave. It would have been a much simpler approach. It was such a waste of time to resort to such ways. While they were enjoying their tea, the private room door swung open again. Then, a man with a golden mask entered with confident strides. It seems like another esteemed guest has arrived. Please, take a seat. Samuel remained hospitable and stood up to welcome him. The man in the golden mask nodded. He was about to sit down when he noticed Dustin. Instantly, he took a few steps backward and exclaimed in shock, You! What are you doing here? Do I know you? Dustin asked with doubt. The man in the golden mask gulped and realized he had lost his cool. He put on a calm front and said impassively, My apologies. I mistook you for someone else just now. The heck? You scared me. Nikki was upset. He looked like he had seen a ghost as soon as he walked in. Was that necessary? The man in the mask took a deep breath and calmly sat. However, he occasionally glanced at Dustin with resentment. As time passed, a few more buyers entered the room. Men and women were present, dressed in luxury, and carried themselves well. They were far from ordinary individuals. Hey, most of the buyers have arrived. Can we start now? Nikki was getting impatient after waiting for so long. Please be patient, miss. We are missing one last person. With a gentle smile, Samuel refilled their tea, being courteous throughout. Who's running late? Will we sit here all day if he doesn't show up? Nikki frowned. What are you rushing me for? I'm here. Just then, a well-dressed young scion strolled in. He was accompanied by a few arrogant women who were all dolled up. The young scion was none other than Julian Nicholson. Who the fuck was rushing me just now? If you don't like waiting, then get the hell out. Julian held his head high, looking arrogant. Hey, do you want to get beaten up? Nikki slammed the table angrily as she stood up, her expression icy. Are you trying to pick a fight with me? Who the fuck do you think you are? You're asking for trouble. Julian responded to Nikki in disdain. She's asking for trouble, but what if I join in? Dustin stood up slowly, asking with a sneer. What? Julian took a closer look and was shocked. It's you. What? Are you surprised? Dustin's gaze was hostile. I haven't had the chance to get revenge when you put me in jail. Now that we've crossed paths today, don't you think it's time to settle the score? Hey, I'm warning you. Don't mess with me. Julian took a few quick steps back in fear when he saw Dustin's threatening posture. He hadn't brought any bodyguards today. Only a few pretty women came with him. It would be difficult for him to handle such a reckless fellow alone. Fellow guests, please calm down. Samuel noticed the tension in the air. He mediated the situation with a smile. We've gathered here today for serious business. Let's not spoil the mood. Whatever it is, we can discuss things calmly while seated. All right, since Mr. Franklin has spoken up, I'll respect that. Dustin nodded and settled back into his seat. Since they came for the Jade Maiden scripture, it was inappropriate to fight now. He could deal with someone like Julian anytime he wanted, anyway. Humph, and here I thought you had the guts, but it seems like you're all bark. Julian sneered. He assumed Dustin was hesitant to act because of his identity. You dress up so shabbily, and yet you dared challenge Mr. Nicholson. Don't flatter yourself. The haughty women with Julian looked at Dustin with disdain. All right, since our esteemed guests have arrived, let's begin. With everyone seated, Samuel proceeded without delay and gestured. Soon, a bodyguard opened a safe nearby and retrieved a delicately crafted wooden box. Upon opening the wooden box, an ancient sheepskin scripture was inside. 3 unmistakable words were on the cover Jade Maiden scripture. It is the Jade Maiden scripture. Everyone's eyes lit up. Nikki, especially, was so excited that her breathing grew rapid. She couldn't believe that it was real. It would have been a lie to say she didn't have doubts about coming here. But it was a delightful surprise. Fellow guests, getting my hands on this treasure wasn't easy. Samuel pointed at the Jade Maiden scripture. He said confidently, I believe you should know that the Jade Maiden scripture is an ancient and long-lost knowledge with many secrets. Those who practice the ways of the Jade Maiden scripture will not only improve their skills, they will also live longer and maintain eternal youth. As soon as they heard those words, everyone grew excited. Especially the group of women could not hide their greedy expressions. They weren't interested in the prospect of greatly enhanced skills. They cared about the promise of long life and eternal youth. Every woman cared about their looks and desired to maintain a youthful look. Mr. Nicholson, you must not let the treasure fall into someone else's hands. We must take it home. The haughty women were excited as their eyes burned with hunger. Don't worry. No one will dare take it from us as long as I am here. No one has the power to do so either. Julian raised his head, looking confident. I wonder if Miranda will be happy if I give this treasure to her as a gift. The man in the golden mask murmured to himself, Name a price. I'm taking it home with me. Nikki was impatient. Its value is not up to me, but to you, my fellow guests. Whatever you suggest as the price will be the price. Samuel smiled faintly and reflected the question to them. You're letting me decide the value of it? All right, I'll pay 10 million. Julian raised his index finger, taking the lead. HMPH, what's a measly 10 million? I'll pay 50 million for it. 50 million for the Jade Maiden scripture. You must be dreaming. I'll pay 100 million. 200 million here. Within a minute, the price of the Jade Maiden scripture broke through the 100 million mark. Everyone knew ancient and long-lost knowledge like the Jade Maiden scripture was priceless. It couldn't be bought with just money. Today, their wealth would determine who takes the treasure home. I'm offering 1 billion. With gritted teeth, Nikki raised the price. Immediately, the voices hushed down. Everyone glanced at Nikki, sizing her up. Do you think 1 billion is impressive? I'll pay 1.5 billion. Julian raised the bid again. The Nicholsons may not have much of anything else, but they certainly had a lot of money. Not to mention, recently, he was in luck and earned a few billions. He had so much money now that he didn't know how to spend it. 2 billion. Nikki would not let up. The Jade Maiden Sisterhood had a budget of around 5 billion. As long as she could get the Jade Maiden scroll, spending it all wasn't a problem. My, are you challenging me? I'm curious to see what you're capable of. 3 billion. Julian thundered with confidence. When he raised the price, several buyers gave up and left. Although the Jade Maiden scripture was a precious treasure, it came with a major limitation. It was only useful for women. While spending a few 100 million to please their lover wasn't an issue, a few billion wasn't worth it. Nikki, how much can your guild afford to pay? Dustin asked suddenly. About 5 billion. Why? Nikki raised an eyebrow. All right, sounds good. Dustin nodded. He raised his hand. We'll pay 5 billion. What? Many were shocked when they heard the amount. Did they think 5 billion could fall from the sky? That's crazy. Who raises the price like that? I'm done playing. What's this nonsense of adding to billion in one go?